Comes up. All right, so we're going to talk about EMR. However, before we talk about EMR, I'm going to give you some background because not everybody might not be on the same playing field. So as with any good briefing that you do in the military, you kind of give them some background, and I'm going to do that for you. And I'm going to do it within the construct of some slides that you've seen previously. And within the, yeah, if you want to turn it down, that's fine. Yeah, that's too much. I think they'll be able to see it. And I'm going to use the cans. Anybody remember the cans? Okay, I'm going to use the cans. So we'll talk about the cans, and what I want to start out with is the cans. And hopefully, lovely technology. All right. I didn't touch it yet. All right, we're going to talk, I'm just going to build the whole thing out. All right, so we're going to talk about the cans, and we're going to talk about the various accounts at Gloria Dei. These are the various accounts at Gloria Dei, either within the church or within Gloria Dei Ministries Incorporated, which is a separate entity that allows us to do some things that we could not do very easily either as a church, or allows us some opportunities that we could not do under the auspices of the church and the rules that the church has for taxes and things like that. So we've got these two entities. Underneath the church, you'll see that there's a church account. Let's see if this works. Yeah. There's a church account. There is a school account. And then there is a cash flow account. Wherever you see these vault symbols, that means we're going to the bank and getting money. No one's giving it to us except for the bank. That's where that money comes from. So within the construct of Gloria Dei Lutheran Church, we've got the church fund, which is the capital fund, building buildings, paying for buildings and land. We've got the operating budget. The operating budget is what it is. It pays for lights and heat, salaries, it pays for meals, it pays for receptions, it does a lot of different things. And then you've got the memorial fund, which is exactly what it is. People who want to make a donation in memoriam to a particular individual or to the glory of God, they would input into that fund. Separate fund, and each of these funds, coincidentally, has a slightly different manager at Gloria Dei. So you've got somebody who manages the capital fund, although I will tell you there are changes occurring in the financial systems of Gloria Dei. We're trying to compact it, we're trying to streamline it, and trying to make it uniform across all of the various accounts, because up to this point, one account has been using QuickBooks, one account has been using Excel, one account has been using Blackbaud, or whatever. They've all been using something a little bit different, and when you want to compare apples to apples, it wasn't very easy. Or when you want to get a real snapshot of where we're at, it was very difficult, and you know, there was a lot of smoke and mirrors, and that's why whenever Pastor Stowe would present something to you and you asked him a tough question, he had to kind of go around the world in order to answer it, because okay, so anyway, we're kind of reconciling that, but you've got the church, and then you've got the school, and the school has the same thing, an operating budget that's fueled by tuition that's charged to the students. It's got reserves, because any smart business has a reserve, and the reserves for the school are really used predominantly for cash flow. So whereas Gloria Dei, the church, predominantly uses a line of credit for cash flow, the school, because it has been over time been mature and been able to reinvest and save its money that it gets from tuition, has created its own reserve. But that reserve is not a reserve that you can just dip into and start spending out of. That reserve is really a cash flow to pay for salaries, because the tuition cycle, you've got to pay those teachers to come online, but you don't have the money yet because the school year hasn't started. So effectively, it pays for those teachers before you get the tuition money later on in the year. So that's what that is. I just want to make sure folks know that's not like a fun, rainy day type fund that you can go to. Although some of that does happen, I will tell you. I mean, within the ability for us to manage that. So you've got that on the left-hand side. Then on the right-hand side, you've got Gloria Dei Ministries Incorporated. What's interesting about Gloria Dei Ministries Incorporated on the right-hand side? Who can pick that out right away?
All lines of credit?
They're all lines of credit or loans or bank money. There is no source of finances for Gloria Dei Ministries Incorporated. I don't know if anyone knew that, but the whole academy thing that we did with the CPE program, you guys didn't pay for that. You are to that account to take care of the debt that we had with the academy, which is to the tune of $350,000, somewhere around there. So that's what's interesting about Glory Day Ministries Incorporated. And then we've got this interesting thing here called the firewall. Who knows what a firewall is? It's a firewall, computer language, or even in a car. Why do you have a firewall in between the passenger compartment and the engine? So you don't get a burn when it... Okay, so it's the same thing. We have this firewall. It's not a physical firewall. It's a firewall of paper and intent. So there are papers that we have between Glory Day Church and Glory Day Ministries, Inc. that define transition of money between these entities. And so when we did the land development and we used money from the church, from this fund right here, to do the strategic development of architecting and concepts and things like that, that money flowed across into the Gloria Day account, was spent, and then a piece of paper, an instrument, was signed between the two organizations to say, I owe you money, and we say, yes, you do. And the terms of whatever that was are defined. So that's what that firewall means. And obviously the firewall is there because if something goes absolutely wrong over here, guess who we want to be responsible for that? Them. Not us. Okay, that's what that firewall is all about. It's making sure that if there's a liability issue for either non-payment or potentially for some kind of accident or injury or some issue related to something that GDMI might be doing, GDMI is held accountable for that, and they would not, it would be less likely and more difficult for them to come back to the church. Could they do it? Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, lawyers can do lots of crazy things like that. So that's the financial picture at Glory Day. Does everybody understand that? Because that's pretty essential to understanding what we're going to talk about next. So what are we going to talk about next? Well, that wasn't supposed to go away. But if it does, here's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk only about the operating budget. That's the only thing for right now, for the next few slides, that we're going to talk about. So everything that I tell you about money and percentages and stuff like that, it only applies to that one can right there, that operating budget. It does not apply to the capital fund, and it does not apply to the memorial fund. It's only that one can right there. So let's see where we actually go.
Reverse language forward.
Oh, there you go. That's right. That's right.
Trust me.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely. You are a genius. It said you don't know anything about technology.
Apply technology.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so that's what